Welcome back to Creativity GGG, the show where inspiration hides in strange places. Old notebooks, broken amplifiers, and sometimes in the back room of a Boston dive bar with a sticky floor.
Here's the part I didn't understand back then. I didn't understand anything back then. I thought I knew everything, and I knew nothing. I had lived all over the world, and I had lived nowhere at the same time. I was incredibly naive, and I think I kind of liked being that way. I didn't want to learn things. I wanted to experience them. So I think back, and I think back to those memories. I think about my total journey, my total creative journey, which started when I was a kid and has brought me to this point now where I'm still working and my work has evolved. But there was this one period that stood out for me, which was back in Boston after college and before I moved to New York. I was in a band called Unction. And Unction was a giant music experiment. We wanted to try things. We had come out of college and we had some sophisticated ideas about harmony and rhythm, and we wanted to rock. The guy who put us together was a guy called Danny Pellegrino, and Danny wanted to rock. And, I kind of liked rocking too, although I was more of a folk musician, but I liked the idea of it, We used to play this place called The Rat in Kenmore Square, right up against the outfield, green monster of Fenway Park. There was a little bar called the Raskiller, but it was known as The Rat. And it was like that classic dive bar, that you don't want to go to the bathroom, and the walls are covered in all sorts of symbolic language, It's just amazing. I love dive bars. You always are welcome in a dive bar. There's always lower expectations in a dive bar. And the Rat was like that. It was like a laboratory, and we were the rats, It was a place where you could be safe to be like incomplete, That's what stands out to me about that moment in my journey. On Mondays in the Rat, there were maybe 15 people in the room, including the bartender. And we tried things, and we failed, and we succeeded, and we peeled paint off the wall with excessive volume. And we played new songs and had half-formed ideas and crazy riffs that we weren't even sure we liked. We would just throw everything out there and then kind of watched how people took it, What a great, safe place. Monday night in the Rat with the band Unction experimenting, That was the secret. That was the secret. The unpolished room gives you permission to be the artist you're becoming instead of the artist you're pretending to be. We had a lot of pretense. We should dress like this. We should cut our hair like that. We'd look at pictures. We'd listen to other bands and think we should do this, we should do that. We're trying to find ourselves. But the unpolished room gives you permission to go through all that and come out the other side a better artist. And you need places where you can be bad when you're growing as an artist, when the stakes are low, when nobody is waiting for you to impress them, You need those places. You need to find them, because that's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where you learn your real voice. I'm not sure any of us did, but every night was a step, a small part of the journey. I'm talking about 40 years ago, and I've had a long career, but that was a part of the journey. And more than that, that was like a diamond in my journey, That was like a highlight. And it still is true to me. I look at those songs, I want to get my hands around them. I want to keep singing them. You know, there was an innocence and a beauty and a reckless madness to what we were doing. And some of it just sounds completely awesome. You know, I actually have a couple of live performances from the Rat, and they kind of boggle my mind a little bit, to be honest, that we played with such accuracy and speed, you know. The Rat was a step in our journey. And the truth is, creativity isn't born on the big stages, you know. It doesn't come whole cloth. You don't go straight from your bedroom to the arena. It's born in a cheap room on a wrong night with the PA half broken and your heart wide open. The Rat, yeah, isn't even there anymore. Places like that don't close. They just disappear. They evaporate like steam on a sidewalk after the rain, like paper mache mountains, you know, in a monsoon. There one day, gone the next. We used to play in the Rat on Mondays, and I always liked playing on Mondays and Tuesdays because the people that are there, they want to hear the music, you know, and ultimately for a musician, that's the ultimate thing. I mean, when you're a musician, you play a lot where people are eating and talking over your music, and you kind of end up playing for yourself. But usually a crowd on a Monday night in a city dive bar, and they want to hear stuff. They want to hear the music. They're gonna listen, you know, and you love them for it. And you learn from how they listen, how they react, what's going on. Those rooms would feel empty sometimes from the stage, and they would be full at the same time, like our heads, to be honest. And there was a strange equilibrium going on there between hope and a hangover. Hope and a hangover. Those were kind of like the dichotomy of our existence. You know, we hoped that the music would take us someplace, and the music certainly took me someplace. And we drank a lot, so we had hangovers, and you would kind of like go out full of hope. You play your gig, you come home with a hangover, and you go to sleep, and then you wake up at 7:30, and you go to the opera house to work, and that was our life. What do you think about that? I mean, it's a little crazy, right? Operas, sex, drug, madness, betrayal, and so are our songs and our life. Our life was a soap opera, and we were working the opera. There was no distance between working the operas and hauling our gear down the steps at the Rat. It was seamless for us, one to the other. Opera and Unction, ritual and racket. Cathedral by day, chaos by night. Unction wasn't a humble band at all. We were loud, we were reckless, and we were arrogant, and we wrote our own rules. We were in with the out crowd, like Danny used to sing. There was this whole rock and roll scene in Boston, but we were not part of that whole rock and roll scene. We were either playing or loading trucks, and there was not much in between. You think back, you know, and the memories break apart like old 2-inch tape. Bits flake off. Most of it disappears. So fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck all the broken memories. I mean, just fuck them. What matters most is that we lived it once. That the music was alive. And that we were there. And most important of all, we were together. We were friends. We were friends chasing grooves. I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that. So creativity isn't always clean. It isn't always polite. It's selfish. It's loud. It's sweaty. It's held together with duct tape and adrenaline. Because if you lived it, if you really, really, really lived it, it becomes part of the rhythm you carry for the rest of your life. No matter what you do with your life, you're going to carry this diamond with you. And you could be working in the bank, but that Unction rhythm is going to be in the back of your head. pounding beats, fast riffs, crazy lyrics. Look, if you're building something new, a story, a company, a composition, a life, do yourself a favor. Go find your Monday night. A low-stakes room, a low-stakes place. A place where you're allowed to try things that might not work. Where failure isn't punishment, it's progress. Where nobody's watching too closely. That's where the real work begins. That's where the spark shows up. That's where the art gets honest. Every creator needs a Monday night. The rat was mine. Find yours.
This has been Creativity GGG. Follow the song lines, tell your stories, and if you're brave, play the Monday night slot. Nothing refines an artist like performing for 12 people. Unction was Danny Pellegrino, Jay Johnson, Ray Schmarder, Cliff Coleman, and Chris McHale. And if nostalgia moves you, visit Bandcamp, produced by Studio GGG Production, and spend $1 on Unction's music. Truly, it's more than the band ever made on those legendary Monday night rat gigs. Inflation works wonders. GGG.